Hello everybody, this is Bradley Grunner, and I'm here with you today on May 14th, 2016. I'm having a great day, and I just got back from a great back workout. I'm trying some new things in the gym, and I really like the way things are going. I am 3 days into my first contest prep. That's all I'm going to say. And I feel very good, and I probably feel good because I'm not deep into the prep. This is going to be a long prep. That's all I'm going to say. I don't like to talk too much about preps and goals because I feel that if I talk about them too much, I'm going to jinx myself. But I just wanted to air with you what I'm doing because I do have some followers so far. I have some subscribers so far. And as I always say in my videos that I've made previously, I thank everyone who has subscribed to my channel so far. The list is just a drop in the bucket, as I said before, but I am thankful for each and every one of you who has so far left a comment or contacted me on Instagram or Facebook, and I thank you greatly for following and absorbing what I have to say. So, without further ado or wasting any time, let's go into the topic at hand for the day. The topic at hand for the day is what I will simply title Researchers versus Bodybuilders. There has been a phenomenon in I would say, the past decade or so. The time in which bodybuilding and fitness has become increasingly popular on the internet. And today I want to establish who the real experts are and who you should listen to or go to or seek the services of to build your body or actually participate in competitive bodybuilding, to actually be a competitive bodybuilder. Whether you are someone that just wants to enter a natural show or maybe an NPC show for your first time or just, dip your feet into this hobby, whether it's going to be short-term or long-term, or maybe you're just a guy who just wants to look like a bodybuilder, or you just want to look like a guy who's exceptionally buff. You want to be that guy who wears shirts, and let's face it, seemingly everybody is always asking you about working out. I mean, folks, let's get real here. Most people out there do train for that. They want to be the guy or the gal that everybody's oogling and ogling about and asking questions to about how to get in shape, how to lift, how to train, how to do cardio, how much cardio, what to eat, how much macros for your goals, your caloric intake, what are you eating? They ask you questions. I think it's kind of flattering, actually, when people ask me what I'm eating, but it's almost as if people ask bodybuilders or gym rats, like, what are you eating? Like there's a special thing that they're eating, like there's something special. When in fact you're eating the same stuff that everybody else is eating. You're just eating it in different amounts or eating it more conscientiously. So let's just get to the topic at hand and see who you should go for these aims. These bodybuilding aims, and I'm sticking strictly to bodybuilding. I'm not sticking to powerlifting, CrossFit training, marathon training, etc. I'm dealing with the world of training to look good, or training to look good naked, as we like to call it, or to compete in bodybuilding and look like a bodybuilder, or maybe even look like one of the physique competitor, even a bikini contestant, who knows? Maybe you're one who just wants to look good in a bikini at the beach. So we're aesthetically oriented people. I make no, what do they say? Make no bones about it. That's what we're into here. So, okay. Seems to be this phenomenon that these people with, how do I put it here? I'm trying to go forward with this. I'm trying to say it in the best way possible without wasting time. There are a group of people on the net. Some of them are working together, some of them are holding seminars, publishing books together, publishing actual research, because some of them are academicians. We're publishing research on hypertrophy training, or training related to bodybuilding. And these are the sort of guys, and I'm sure you're familiar with all of them. I do have respect for many of them. I've even spoken to many of them, or corresponded with some of them through the net. These are guys who like to throw around research studies. They like to quote researchers. They like to back up what they say with studies. But in my view, these are not the guys to go to. A lot of these guys take pride in sometimes even ridiculing bodybuilders or ridiculing those who use so-called bro science, a sort of bodybuilding pseudoscience. And let me make this clear, and I usually do, let me make this clear. I have an undergraduate degree in nutrition. I'm also a registered dietitian. I did a dietetic internship, and after the dietetic internship, I had to take the RD registration examination to become an RD. I also have a master's in nutrition and exercise physiology. Did I learn a great deal in my degrees? Yes. You could even view my video titled Registered Dietitians versus Nutritionists, in which I discussed some of the curricula in which I took, that I had to pass, varying from the coursework such as medical nutrition therapy, nutrition counseling, what else was there? Nutrition communication, food and culture, medical nutrition therapy. Did I say medical nutrition therapy? Food science, food technology, contemporary nutrition, nutrition throughout the life cycle. I forgot so many of my classes. I actually detested school, even though I learned a great deal from it. I detested it. I got to go look up maybe my transcript for all the classes that I took. And let me tell you, it was difficult work. And I didn't mention also the prerequisites such as chemistry, biochemistry, microbiology, and all the labs that I had to take with it. And then my master's, I took exercise physiology, sport nutrition, weight control, etc. And I also did a thesis with Doug Kalman, the founder for the International Society of Sports Nutritionists. I had a great time writing this thesis on the topic of high carbohydrates versus low carbohydrate diets for endurance athletes. So with that out of the way, let's just say that I've read a great deal of studies. I have read, over 100 studies, okay? They benefit my career in being a dietitian. I work in a skilled nursing facility. I have worked in skilled nursing facilities and hospitals for my entire career. Has my education really been useful in building my body? To a degree, because I've learned basic nutrition. Other than that, and I've also taken some exercise physiology classes as well. Other than that, no. It has only benefited my career being a clinical dietitian. I did not need to take degrees to do what I'm doing. No one does. A contest prep coach doesn't. An expert bodybuilder or expert in bodybuilding does not need to push around studies or quote studies in order to prove that they know what they're doing with bodybuilding. Who's at the forefront of changing the body? Bodybuilders. They've been ahead of researchers. Bodybuilders are the ones who took it upon themselves to experiment with different ways of eating and different ways of training for desired results to get ready for a show. Don't you think that that's who you should be listening to? Granted, some bodybuilders say off-the-wall things. Some of them are just succeeding in spite their lack of communicating what they're doing or despite their lack of knowledge in some areas. But even if they do say ignorant statements, most of them are still doing something that is working. Now, we can say that you do not need to eat 6 meals per day, and you can still have the same body composition or physique goals or performance goals with less meals. However, the guy who is eating the 6 meals per day and having the right macros and caloric amount for the day is still doing it right, because 6 meals versus 4 meals can produce similar results. So even if he thinks that eating fewer meals is not good, which is not true. Really what matters at the end of the day most are caloric intake and protein intake, so long as everything else, other bases are covered. He's still not doing it wrong, okay? If the guy has a certain way of eating and doesn't include foods that everybody else thinks are superfoods, that you must eat these things, granted, he might have some health benefits from eating certain foods, but the foods that he is eating are still keeping him healthy. You see what I'm trying to say? Just because a bodybuilder doesn't know how to express what he's doing in the best way or has certain superstitions, it doesn't mean that he doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, so we have all these things that you should follow these guys that run around the internet, and most of them, these sciencey guys, they take pride in ridiculing others. Not all of them, not all of them. There's a snarky, sarcastic attitude by them. They think that they have the real answers, when really the people who have the answers are the ones doing the bodybuilding. And yes, granted, there are IFBB pros, and possibly even some natural pros with great genetics, who do things kind of in a haphazard way, and everything just seems to work for them. But really, I mean, there have been some bozo IFBB pros out there, even ones who compete at the Olympia level, who needed like coddling from their trainers. I mean, they almost needed like a babysitter for grown-ups to get them through it. And again, I don't even know if this is true. I mean, I don't know if this could just be hearsay. I mean, you hear these things about these top-notch Olympia competitors. We know who they are. The two lazy guys, and they set their foot on an Olympia stage being lazy. Maybe they were lazy. Maybe they need to be coddled. But until I have proof that they were really coddled, I mean, judging from their training videos, they did look kind of freaking lazy. However, for their genetics, they were doing something right. They didn't need to do certain things to get to that level. Maybe they could have been better, but then again, they weren't doing anything wrong. Because if they were doing something wrong, they wouldn't reach the Olympia stage. And then people will say, they just had great genetics and drugs. Genetics and drugs, genetics and drugs. Yes, it worked out like that for those guys. But they were still doing the bare minimum right things to get to that level. Do you see what I'm saying? With those people out of the way, do you really think that we wouldn't learn something about contest prep from the people competing at the highest level, even if they do rely or depend on contest prep coaches? You don't think that they learned anything from the contest prep coaches that they couldn't pass on to us, or just from their own experience being a bodybuilder? There's a pro bodybuilder who I've been a fan of since I was a kid. He was on the Olympia stage. He was on the Night of Champions stage. Night of Champions is the third most important pro show there is. Do you think that if I run into this guy, I might not ask him for maybe some critique of my physique or some tips on posing, which I have no freaking experience with? Do you think that he's not going to teach me something? And by the way, this guy is friends with one of the pros that we all know and love. He's one of the most popular pros now. But this guy used to guest pose with him and hang out with him back in the day. Do you not think that for my show that I want to do in the fall, that my first show that I aim to do in the fall, do you think that I'm not going to learn something from this guy? Do you think that if we were in a room with Dorian Yates, Jay Cutler, Larry Scott from back in the days, anyone, Samir Bannout, if that's how you pronounce his name, Frank Zane, do you really think we're going to sit in a room with all these IFBB pros and we're not going to learn a thing or two if we pick their brains? Seriously, are you kidding me? I mean, what is the compulsion to quote these guys? There are even guys running around the internet that want the approval of this science nerd gang that runs around the internet with studies, none of which actually really do anything useful for us. So maybe you could take away things from researchers, but really, how many researchers are getting ready for bodybuilding shows? How many of these guys running around the net like a bunch of freaking loudmouth, know-it-all nerds, pompous jerks? Most of them are pompous jerks, actually. You know who I'm talking about. You know the guys. They like, jumping on forums and insulting people. Sometimes insulting other people's ignorance. Maybe sometimes the person that they're insulting is just ignorant, but they feel that they have a free hand in insulting the guy because they might know a thing or two more than them. So that's my take on it. You want to learn, you learn in the gym. You learn from bodybuilders. You want to learn about all the diets? Great. You can read studies about ketogenic diets. There are plenty of them. I read plenty of them. I even included some of them in my thesis work for references. That's fine. You can learn how the body works. You could pick up a good, nutrition metabolism book, if you want to learn the ins and outs of the body and how things go down. But if you want to learn how to carb cycle, do ketogenic diets, and peak for a show, you go to the people who have done it. You go to the people who have suffered for 3 to 4 months to get on stage. You go to the people who were so fatigued that they didn't even know how they were going to make it through in the last 2 or 3 weeks leading up to a show, posing practice, meal prep, shopping for food. I mean, having others work, their loved ones and coworkers work around this insane hobby and lifestyle. That's who you go to. And that's all I'm going to say. Okay? Researchers for bodybuilders, bodybuilders win. This is coming from someone who has the academic credentials on nutrition and exercise. I mean, I got 2 pros for friends. And when I say pros, I'm not just latching onto these dudes like a hanger-on. I mean, I've been friends with one of them long before he became a pro. And the other one is my friend on the basis that we're friends even besides this gym hobby. So there it is for you folks. I took a little long to explain this. Bodybuilders win. That's who you go to information for. Not nerds who just speculate and theorize or just shuffle information around. I hope you enjoyed this one. And that's all I got to say for today. Have a good day.